Well, the new album, Spectre of Devastation, is only 9 days away, less by the time this video goes out. It's been 4 years since your last album, Scavengers. Why was there such a delay in between the two albums?
Well, it's been too long for sure. We won't let that happen again. We did a few tours, and we wrote the music for Spectre of Devastation, and at the same time we purchased the rights for the albums from our current label, and time passed, so to speak, but it was certainly a too big of a gap. Then we started to record Spectre of Devastation in January this year, without being signed. So we finalized the full album, the product, and then we sent this one to a few select labels. But yeah, 4 years is too long.
Yeah, but from what I've heard, it seems to be worth the wait because the two videos you've released, there's really strong material, really good stuff. Particularly Left to Rot, I like that a lot. And then Left to Rot as well is a very cool video. It's a very kind of smoky atmosphere that gradually dissolves. Did you have any trouble getting music videos made this year?
Well, no, actually not. Went pretty smoothly. So we do almost all production, both the music production and the video production ourselves. So it was pretty smooth, I think. Actually, we didn't find the correct spot, or we had problems with the intended location when we were going to shoot Left to Rot, but it turned out great, even better than expected, because we found another place right by where we rehearse, so it was great, and it turned out great as well, I think. So no problems. No, it was pretty smooth recording or shooting.
And how about recording? I mean, you mentioned you began recording in January. Was it a long recording process, or again, very relatively straightforward?
No, it was. I think it was one of the most efficient recordings we've done so far. So we did everything ourselves, and Fredrik produced and mixed the album, and Flemming was the one doing the mastering.
Yeah.
And so I think we recorded in January, and then did post-production, and the album was, I think it was finished in springtime. But we did the recording sessions on weekends, I think, because we have regular jobs, so
Yeah.
we need to fit recording in between, so to speak. So it was the process. Yeah.
Cool. Let's talk about the title. Where does the title Spectre of Devastation come from?
Well, so it's of the theme, the Black Death theme. So that's the first song, and as the cover artwork portrays, it's our mascot, so to speak, the judge, who is the Spectre of Devastation. So he unleashes the pest rats onto the world in a medieval setting. So it's like figurative. It's about him releasing the rats and causing the plague all over the world. And it was a coincidence, because this was the title we decided on before the COVID outbreak. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if fortunate or unfortunate.
As long as nobody blames you for it, then it's okay, you know. But the artwork itself is fantastic. It's like a true classic metal album cover. And obviously, you worked with Andreas Marshall, I think it's Andreas,
Yeah.
who's done work for Annihilator, Creator, Destruction, maybe even Sodom, Blood, Blood, Blood. Um, this is the first time you've worked with him. Was he easy to get a hold of?
Yes, he was. So we were pitching names for an artist, and his name has been coming up when we pitched for the past albums as well. But we went with other artists, and this time we thought that maybe this time we're going to go with Andreas. We sent him an email, and he responded, and we pitched the idea, and he did a sketch quickly, and we thought it was spot on. And he continued with the work on the cover artwork, and when we received the final artwork, we were blown away. It was fantastic. It was spot on. He understood us perfectly. So it's really fitting the music. It's really fitting the title, I think, and it's very beautiful. So it's a
Yeah.
perfect cover. Yeah, super good work. Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
like you say, it is a perfect cover because that's something that just embodies heavy metal, and that could be from any time. You know, it's not like a throwback '80s album cover or anything like that. It's just pure metal, which
Yeah.
is what you want, really. You know, especially for a band like Warfect.
Yeah.
Musically, how is Spectre of Devastation different from Scavengers?
Well, it's in the same vein,
Mm,
but we have evolved as musicians and music creators. So this is a more, I think it's a more dynamic album, and dynamic is something we feel is very important, just to keep the listener on edge, not to make um, like a boring album, or that you can listen to like 3 or 4 songs and then you drop it. But it's in the same vein, but it's I think it's more well written. I
mm,
think so. To me, it is anyway. But if you like Scavengers, you will probably like the new album as well.
good,
So it's yeah.
excellent. But like you say, you recorded the album, you sent it out to a few select labels. Ultimately, you signed with Napalm, who are probably the fastest rising metal label in the world right now. It seems so many bands are joining Napalm. Um, what was it about Napalm that made you decide this was the right label for you?
Well, we've been looking at Napalm for years, obviously, and uh, I think they fit us perfectly because they understand our music. They have great bands in the roster, and they have the right size as well. And that's an important thing for us because we need a platform to go forward from, and I'm sure that Napalm is that platform for us.
Mm,
So it feels great signing with them. They're great. Yeah.
yeah. Um, like every interview this year, we have to touch on the subject of the pandemic.
Yeah.
How much has it affected Warfect's plans for the year?
Well, uh, when it first came to Sweden, we were in full production work with our album. So uh, we had a few dates planned in the spring, and like in between uh, the production work. Um, but they were cancelled, obviously,
Yeah.
and all the other dates as well. Uh, of this year. So of course it has affected us. So it's really bad that you can't play live, and then you have to think about other things to do, to present your music, to present your band, to present everyone. It's difficult for sure. But we do have other jobs, so like income wise we're okay, but it must be super hard for musicians that do live on their music exclusively. So that must be devastating. So this is bad enough for us, but I can't imagine for them. So I really hope they find a vaccine as soon as possible, so we can get on with the ordinary life, like next year, hopefully. I really hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great. It would be great to have you over here in the UK as well. And obviously, this is a American website. They'll be wanting some Warfect over there as well, either to take out their frustrations from today or just to celebrate. We don't know yet, but just to kind of finish off with, let's talk a little bit about in the mid 2000s there was kind of a revival of thrash metal bands, and some of them have kind of like some of those bands kind of flared up and disappeared immediately, and others seem to have just taken thrash and put a more modern approach to it. And I think Warfect's one of those bands as well, which is what keeps Warfect interesting to listen to, you know, rather than it being another Exodus clone or whatever like that. What would you attribute the renewed interest in thrash metal to?
Well, I think everything goes in cycles, of course. This time it's another new wave of thrash metal again, and we've seen a surge in the interest of black metal for the latest years, and now it's thrash metal again, but maybe not just plain old school revival, but with a modernized touch, perhaps. And I don't know why, but I like it, of course, because I listen a lot to metal. So for me, it's great that we play thrash metal. So yeah, we love it, of course. I think we can keep the interest up.
Cool. It must be quite interesting being a Swedish thrash band, because obviously people tend to associate Sweden more with death metal and even probably more black metal than thrash metal. Off the top of my head, I can't name you any Swedish thrash from the 80s. I can name you some Swedish punk, but Swedish thrash from the 80s, not so much. So is there any like Swedish bands that you look to when it came to the thrash side of things, or is it just going straight on, this is just the music we like and we'll see what we can do?
It's mostly we're just going on with the stuff we like. So we write music for ourselves as well as all the other people around who wants to listen to us. But we write music that we find interesting. We do have a few thrash bands in Sweden right now, and FKU is one of them, which are very good. But yeah, people usually associate Sweden with like the Gothenburg sound from the 90s, In Flames, Haunted, At the Gates, or the Stockholm sound, which is like Dismember and or death metal. So, but I think we're going to be strong in thrash as well, because people like music here in Sweden. So regardless of the genre, I think.
Yeah, it's quite funny, you know. A lot of people, especially in like the UK and America and Canada, and we kind of have this idea of Sweden as being like this totally metal country. You know, like every metal band does well in Sweden, kind of thing. And then people go and visit, and they're like, No, it's just really nice. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. But we do have a lot of metal. We
yeah,
do, and a lot of people playing bands. So music is very big,
mm,
uh, and maybe that's why we do have a lot of like big export bands,
mm,
like from the 60s until now.
yeah,
And we do have this public music school that everybody goes to, uh, and we do have like this. Um, the government is supporting young people to play music. So you get a rehearsal room, you get the stuff you need. They really support you to
yeah,
begin to perform music and to write music and stuff. And that's I think it's a really important thing, because then young people who usually can't afford buying stuff,
mm,
music stuff, they can start trying out music anyway. So you start in a pretty early age, and I think it's key to uh, the key to this whole thing with having a lot of export and a lot of metal music as well. Yeah.
yeah. That's really interesting to hear because in the UK it's the exact opposite. Like the government have recently launched a campaign to discourage people from music or acting or anything like that. Like, which sounds like I'm just being like, oh, fuck the government, but I swear to God, it's true. Um, they're like, oh, you should retrain. You could have a job in accounting. Wouldn't that be better? It's, so to hear, like bands in Sweden and Denmark that are getting encouraged by the government, it's just that sounds like heaven to me, to be honest. But I'm
Uh,
sure there's problems, but it's
yeah, but it is fantastic. So maybe I wouldn't be in music if I wasn't supported by the government all those years. So
mm.
who knows? Who knows?
Kris, thank you so much for taking time to speak to me tonight. I really do appreciate it, and I wish you only the best with the new album. If it's anything like the cover, it's going to be one of the albums of the year.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Tack så mycket.